Hello and welcome back. If you're a long-time subscriber, it's been a while since I made a video. Started out with dirt bikes and I've had various other things on the channel, kind of a mix of everything, just hobbies and whatnot. You can see we've got a couple of new bikes in here. I believe the last motorcycle related video would have been the moped. There are the tires, and then under the bench are the frame and everything else. And so we're back at it. I think I had a video on the YCF. Actually, I know I did, just kind of going over that. That's my grandson's. This is also my grandson's. He's kind of outgrown that a little bit. It still fits him fairly well, but we didn't really have a place to ride, and he's been wanting a new dirt bike for a long time. He does not know that he's got this. His birthday's next week, so this is a surprise. Brand new 2025 140 RL. And he's tiptoe on it, but I wanted to get something that he didn't outgrow within a year or so. You can also see there's a 300R, that's brand new as well, 2024 model. I'll have that in another video. There are some things I'm gonna do to it. I'm not gonna mod it out like crazy, but it is a California model. I'll go over all that in a video. I'm probably gonna lower it a little bit. I'm a short guy, and eventually I may put some new springs in there because it's a little soft. I'm also not the lightest person in the world. So more videos on that, but today's the focus on this one. Again, 2025, brand new, and we have a little bit of a problem. There's really nothing wrong with it except for the fact the battery has died. So they were over last week. I had to put both of these out in my shed, and I just brought them back in today. So they were in the shed for about a week and a half, I think. It's very cold out, and when I picked it up, they had just prepped it, put the battery in. Of course, it didn't have a charge on it. When I went to pull them out of the shed, this one had a dead battery. And you would think, oh, it's easy charging, like the YCF charging port. There's not. There's not a battery tender port. So we're gonna put that on this today and show you how to access the battery. And I mean, I suppose we can go over the bike a little bit. I mean, it's electric start, no kick start. It is carbureted, whereas the 300R is fuel injected. And yeah, it's brand new. It's never been ridden except for in my yard by me putting it in the shed. So we will reposition the camera. So eventually I'll probably add lithium to both bikes, but for now we're just gonna add these pigtails for the battery tender and show you how to access that. Also, this video will show you how to change the battery if you need to do so. But the pigtail is gonna make life a lot easier. Just leave it on a tender. You don't have to worry about it. Because again, there's no backup Kickstarter. So the first thing you need is an 8mm socket. Get this bolt off here. Then the panel, it looks kind of funky, but if you just tilt it, pull it out, there is a nub, and then here is a rubber grommet. You can see the battery right here. We'll set that aside. Now, the seat, we'll come back to that, but this is where you actually have to take the seat off and to get to the battery. So. This one, again, you tilt up, pull out, there's the grommet. We can kind of see the other side of the battery. Now it's time to take off the seat. You're gonna have to hold the nut on the other side of this, otherwise it's just gonna spin. So the nut is a 12mm and this is a 10mm. Be nice if they made them both the same, but apparently that was too much work. Here's your nut. We'll put that off to the side. And these are exactly the same. They're easily accessible. And when we take the other one off, we'll show you what it looks like on the inside of the fender. Here's the inside view of the fender. Here's the nut. Put our wrench on there. And there you go. Next is the seat. Taking the seat off, if you notice you lift it up, nothing happens. It's actually attached in two different places. So you kind of push down on this, pull backwards, and you get the seat off. It hooks right here, and then the front goes around like a nut in a washer. Now, if you just want to add the pigtail, this is really as far as you need to go. To access the battery, again, there's two 8mm bolts. And there is your battery. And you can actually take it out. It's loose. Here's where the connections are. It's fairly heavy, so it would be a great idea to actually upgrade to lithium. But here's your battery. If you need to know what kind of battery it is, it's a 6.3 amp hour, 200 hour, 100 cold cranking amps. Not a real beefy battery by any means. Put that back on. We are going to, we'll leave it off for now because we might tuck our wires in the side here. Got to figure out where we're actually going to run these wires. Probably going to be on this side. We'll just have the pigtail kind of hanging out in between the fender. Don't want to put it over here because we got our exhaust. So, or we could put it right above the shock. That would probably be a good option as well. We're going to unscrew our terminals, just the Phillips. And if you needed to replace the battery, you could simply take this out and then put your new battery in, reconnect it. Again, it's not a hard job. It's just if your battery's dead and you want to go riding, it's kind of a nuisance. Here's our little wiring kit. And essentially all it is just the end for the battery tender. It's got the built-in fuse. And these are available on Amazon. This is where I got it. I think I got a 2-pack because I got one for the 300R as well. And it's like $8 for two, maybe $7.99. I don't remember. Fairly cheap, really cheap actually. And then obviously your red goes to your red, which is positive. Ground is the negative. So we need to figure out, so we'll probably do something like this. Now, these wires aren't really long enough. Stuck the fuse in there. Just kind of get a feel for where we want to put it. And we could run our charging adapter right above the shock, or right the inside of the shock. And we'll show you what it looks like on the other side. So let's put this together. We're actually going to run this on the outside. That's kind of big for that. I wonder if I can squeeze it in here. We may have to put different ends on this. I think we will. All right, we're back. We've got the connectors crimped on. Thought about soldering them on and putting some heat shrink on, but this is probably going to be temporary because I am more than likely going to replace this battery. Home Depot didn't have the gold plated connectors. These are the standard, you know, they're both blue. Like, well, how do you tell which one's the positive? Well, the positive has the fuse on it. So this is a little bit tricky. It's not really tricky, but this nut kind of just floats in here. But the screw is exactly the right length. So you need to get something to hold up that nut as you drive the screw in. So we're gonna just get a small screwdriver. And actually the easiest way to do it is to thread the nut or the screw in, pull up on it, then put your screwdriver under there. So you've got it as high as it'll go. Put that terminal on, and then these can now go on the outside because they are small enough and they're actually the right size for this screw. And make sure we've got it centered, which we do not. There we do. Don't want to cross thread it. There. We can kind of push this down. There we go. Let's make sure this is going to all fit under our cover, which it should. Haven't put this other side on yet. I'm just kind of making sure everything's going to fit. Yeah, it should fit just fine. Just a little bit. There we go. We'll do the same thing for the other side. Should have enough room to run this in here. Let's pull some of this out. A little fiddly. And you certainly don't have to be this anal with this. I just want this a certain way. You could technically just leave them hanging there. Could drive this home. We can tuck our fuse down here. And then we're gonna have, gotta think of the best place to put this. It's probably gonna be where it's at, just near the shock. So we'll show you what that looks like on the other side once we get this cover put on, but first we're gonna add some wire ties. I don't want this sticking out so it's gonna rub his leg. We should be good right there. We're not using it. Next thing we're going to do is put this cover back on. Before we do that, make sure it's all connected, which it is. Put our seat back on. Now you gotta hook it under here and up here. So when you're putting it on, you tilt it, you push down in the middle, and then you also push up at the top. Give it a smack, good to go. First thing we have to do is put our seat bolts back in. Don't forget that. Otherwise you'll have a seat that flies up, which I'm sure if you watch Supercross, you've seen that happen before. That's typically what happens. Real quick, one thing I wanted to mention, sometimes this grommet will get stuck. It didn't look like it was sitting all the way flush to me. So you gotta take the grommet back out. I think it popped off when I kind of had it in there, but took it back out. There you go. Piece goes in first. Kind of tuck it under there. You got to tuck the whole thing under. And then from the back, you'll be able to see to make sure that goes into that grommet. There we go. That's flush. Looked a little off. You'll be able to tell. It just sticks out a little bit further. Before we put the side panel back on, we'll give it a little clean. It's just Dawn power wash. It looks like it's just grease from assembly. This panel's similar to the other side, a little bit easier. Again, there's our grommet. This one doesn't seem to pop out as easy as the other one. Pops in a lot easier. You'll know it's attached when the panel just doesn't fall off by itself. So, really easy. There we go. All right, here's the plug. It's pretty easily accessible. It will not come out any further than that. I don't think it's going to interfere with him riding, but you can also just push it in. Kind of stays in there. You can tuck it up under this panel and then pull it back out when you're ready to charge it. So we're going to charge the bike up, and because right now it is dead. As you can see, our battery is low. And here it is plugged into the bike. I was gonna actually start the bike in the video, but the video is really not about the features and benefits of the bike. If you are watching the video, more than likely you have a 140 and you're trying to figure out how to remove the battery or charge the battery, what have you. So we're gonna skip that portion. In the video, the description below the video, I will have Amazon affiliate links to like the pigtails, any tools I use, that kind of thing, if you want to check those out. If you have any questions or comments, post those below. And as always, thanks for watching.